Cubs continued to struggle yesterday, and the questions are being asked. What happened, and why is this team going the wrong direction? Did they miss at the trade deadline? We're going to get into that. Owen Casey with his debut, and Jameson Taillon on the comeback trail had a really good outing. Expect him to be ready for the Cubs this homestand to jump back in the rotation. Like, subscribe, thumbs up, hit the bell. Great to see you guys. Let's talk a little bit of Cubs baseball today. Let's get the show started. And again, big game today against the Pirates. And it's a great day to get things turned around. Let's go. What do you say, everybody? Mick Gillespie, Cubs Baseball Channel. Great to see you guys today. Thanks for hanging out. All right. The questions are there, and I think that it's fair to ask. The Cubs are now 8 games behind Milwaukee. The Brewers win every day. Their world is perfect. They just won 12 straight, and everybody got free hamburgers at a restaurant that is probably getting more publicity now than they have in forever. And the Cubs are trying to figure it out. And we keep talking about it. Another really close game, but they just didn't come up with enough offense to win. And they missed some big opportunities. I'm going to talk about that in a second. But did the Cubs miss big opportunities at the trade deadline? I keep thinking about Anthony Rizzo on the Johnny Manziel podcast. And he says, when the front office goes out and makes big trades, big moves, it energizes the entire team. And I don't think that anything the Cubs did at this trade deadline energized anybody. I mean, look, Willie Castro's great. I've enjoyed watching him play. He's super versatile. I mean, he's in center field yesterday, and it's like, man, this guy really can play, right? But Mike Soroka injured, right? Kittredge, and Taylor, yeah, okay, but nothing major. And the Cubs didn't want to give up the price that it would have cost to go and make a big deal. Jefferson Rojas, their third highest rated prospect, really didn't get the pop that you would think for a third ranked prospect. And I don't think the Cubs wanted to trade Owen Casey. And we're going to talk about his debut. And maybe Jackson Wiggins was banged up, and that's why he didn't go. Who knows? At the end of the day, nobody traded starters. And at the end of the day, the trades that were made were bigger for other teams. The Mariners went and got 2 of the best offensive talents that the Diamondbacks had to offer. Eugenio Suarez was a guy that the Cubs were talking about. But you look at the way Matt Shaw's playing right now, he's been one of the top 10 players in baseball since the trade deadline, right? So are you going to trade him? No. Really, since the All-Star break, he's been excellent. I mean, are you going to say trade for him is what I should say, because but Shaw's versatile enough to play some other spots too. But with that said, it's not like making that deal would have had that much of an impact. Maybe you go out and get Merrill Kelly from the Diamondbacks. He was traded to the Rangers. Obviously, he would be better than what the Cubs have gotten from 2-inning Soroka, who is starting to throw now and getting I guess, back in shape to maybe make a couple starts. I mean, how many are in pitch out of the bullpen? Who knows what that's going to look like when it's all said and done. Hey, look, it wouldn't surprise me if the guy never pitches for the Cubs. Everybody gets healthy again, and then you're like, you know what? We don't really have a spot for you. And that's a real possibility, depending on how things kind of shake out for the Cubs. And their pitching. Because pitching really hasn't been that big of a problem. Actually, the starting's been, despite everything, been pretty consistent and amongst the best in baseball. So did the Cubs miss at the deadline? It would have been nice to get Duran, who's in Philadelphia. But like I said, it's the problem is the offense. And you wonder now, if maybe Craig Counsell didn't give his star players enough days off. I mean, isn't that the manager's responsibility to make sure the guys aren't gassed by the time we get to the middle of August. And we really didn't see a whole lot of the bench. And now part of this, and I could kind of take up for counsel, is that the bench before Castro got there really wasn't that good. I mean, both guys that were on the bench besides Turner were released, or DFA'd or whatever. And are you missing Bruhan? Are you missing Birdie? So it's not like Craig Counsell had these really great bench players to go ahead and work in, but it really looks like Tucker's fatigued if he's not injured. PCA looks out of sorts, and Seiya Suzuki looks fatigued, and he's been the DH. So, I mean, who knows? Could just be like a collective slump. Whatever it is, you can say whatever you want about the trade deadline, but I feel like the bench, maybe they should have made a move on that a little earlier. Maybe they should have signed some better bench players in the offseason. I mean, it was kind of like when both of those guys, Bruhan and Birdie, where you're really, not enamored by those two guys. Or maybe use some of the younger players, like Moises Ballesteros or Owen Casey, who made his debut yesterday. And been creative and use some better hitters from the minor leagues if you've got these guys that are on your bench that are never playing. Now, I do want to talk about Owen Casey again. Congratulations to him. How awesome was it for him to get to the major leagues? He did go 0 for 4. His first at bat looked like he was going to get a hit, and he was robbed on an incredible catch. He had not much sleep, early flight in, 1 hour, get to the ballpark. That's how it goes. But I think that you can see the potential there. And I do think that the Cubs made the right move, bringing him up while the Cubs were in Toronto and allowing him to start his major league career in front of his family and friends. I think long-term that's going to pay off. I liked having him in the lineup. You look at the lineup and you're like, maybe Nico Horner and Matt Shaw need to move to the top, and maybe you need to move Pete Crow Armstrong and Kyle Tucker down in the lineup to get, the guys that are hitting more at bats and the guys that are struggling maybe less at bats, right? And I know that's like anti star, but right now the stars aren't really that bright, But it was cool seeing Caissie in the game. Now, the worst part about this Cubs team was really kind of on display in the 8th inning. Runners at second and third, no outs. Ian Happ, who I don't even put in the star category, but can't put the ball in play. And then the next two guys strike out, and there you go. That's your game. Like not even to be able to put the ball in play with runners in second and third in a 1-run game in the 8th inning, to me is ridiculous. I mean, that's like where you got to go back to the fundamentals of the game. You've got to put the bat on the ball. And when you're paid as much as these guys to put the bat on the ball, you got to figure out how to do it, right? Watching Hap trying to sacrifice bunt, pathetic, and then to just not get the bat on the ball. I mean, and look, it's pathetic around baseball. It's not just the Cubs. No, there's so many teams that don't play fundamental baseball. But the guy Wild pitched them the second and third anyway, and they still weren't able to put the ball in play. Just put it in play. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt if they make a play. There's a lot of guys out there, but you got to give yourself a chance. And I thought that was kind of indicative of everything that's going on with this team right now and all the things that they got to do better. And they've lost 3 consecutive series. But what I will say is this team's not that far off. No matter how bad you feel right now, they're not that far off. There are a couple guys getting going again to being able to compete with anybody. And I don't know I'm not the manager, I'm not the GM, but there's got to be a way to get days off. We saw Pete Crow Armstrong get day off, Seiya Suzuki, getting some time off. Got to do that with Tucker. Just got to have to really rest these guys up and see if they can catch a second win. Because if they do, and I think they will, the Cubs still have everything they want in front of them. I know I say that every night, but you got to remember that. I mean, it's not like they're they lost 3 straight series and they've been swept. They're losing, 2 out of 3. And the series are all right there. They just got to take care of business. So they got the Pirates for 3, then 5 against the Brewers. And I think that's an opportunity to either get back in the race or get some positive momentum. I still think the Cubs roster is better than the Brewers roster, but it's time to go out there and show that. Jameson, Taillon, great rehab start. So this is good news. Remember, he got beat up the last time. Well, 5 1/3 innings, 2 hits, no runs, 2 walks, and 4 strikeouts for the Iowa Cubs. He's saying that he feels healthy, according to our friend Tommy Birch down in Iowa covering the team. I feel healthy and I'm ready to rock. He said that. Now, the Cubs are going to have an issue with the roster, obviously bringing him back on. What would the move be? But they have the doubleheader, so maybe he slides back in for that. You're going to have to give him his rest, but I figure he's going to pitch against Milwaukee in that series. And the other thing, which is good, his arm should be healthy because he had an injury that wasn't an arm injury. He's been out for a long time, and it's been because of a calf. So I'm guessing that, he could be someone that is kind of energized. You'll see this sometimes where guys go on the IL, and then when they finally get back, you look at him and you go, man, this guy is as healthy and has as much juice as they would maybe opening day, just because they haven't pitched a whole lot. And I hope that is definitely the case. But anyway, pitching matchup as the Cubs take on the Pirates, and all these games the entire weekend are 120 at Wrigley. But Colin Ray going for the Cubs, 9-5 record and a 4.09 ERA. And the Pirates at 51-71, kind of slide in the wrong direction. It's just 17 wins and 42 losses for the Pirates on the road. This is a chance for the Cubs to get back on track again, and start to find some momentum and win some games and get the bats going. All the things that they're going to need to do with Milwaukee coming in for a huge 5-game series. But anyway, look. Like and subscribe, guys. I appreciate you so much for watching the shows. And if you're not a subscriber, please be one. We're trying to get to 10,000 subscribers, and we're going to do it. I don't know when, but the sooner the better. But thank you guys, man. Thank you for the positive comments. I don't know why I get thumbs down. I know it's you Cardinals fans. You give me a thumbs down every day on the video, and that's fine. As long as you're here watching, keep throwing those thumbs down. But you guys are kind of on the outside looking in. Cubs are still in, just trying to get things figured out. And if that means that you're going to throw me a thumbs down, then you do it. But that's what we're all about. Get in the comment section. Tell me what you guys think. And we'll watch a little baseball today at 120 at Wrigley. Go Cubs. I think we're going to be all right here soon.